The other day I had someone comment on one of my videos. Basically, they were just trying to follow along with something that I did and they ran into some errors. I responded, tried to help. Fortunately, they were able to eventually solve their issue pretty much all on their own. However, there was one thing that they said during our back and forth, like, I don't know how to run this tool in Windows or something to that effect. And that just made me think there are probably a lot of people out there in this kind of similar situation, and maybe they've never used Linux before, or maybe they just don't have access to a Linux computer. You've probably been in the situation where you come across a tutorial or a walkthrough or something, and they're just going through like some Linux commands, and you just think to yourself, I don't know how to do any of this on Windows. Fortunately, there is a great solution to this. You can install something called a virtual machine, where you essentially run an entire Linux computer inside of your Windows computer, and you can run Linux commands, run stuff in the command line in a Linux environment without having to get a second computer or have like a dedicated Linux machine or anything like that. So I'm going to walk through setting up a virtualized environment with a virtual machine, and I'm going to install Linux on it. So there are two main virtualization options out there that most people use, and that's going to be either VirtualBox or VMware Workstation Player. I've used both plenty. In this video, I'm going to be going over VirtualBox. You just go to virtualbox.org, you click on this big blue button, and it's going to take you to this page. You'll see where it has Windows host, OS X host, Linux distributions, all those kind of options. If you're a beginner, this might be a little bit confusing for you. So the host is the machine that you're going to install VirtualBox on, not the type of operating system you're going to run on the virtual machine after it's installed. So if you're running Windows, then you need to click Windows host, and it will start the download. And then you'll just get an executable that you can run to start installing VirtualBox. At this point, I will stop and mention a couple little errors that you might run into if you're doing this for the first time. You might run into an error that looks something like this. VTX is disabled in the BIOS or something similar to that. You just have to go into the BIOS settings of your computer. It's usually going to be something like one of the F keys or delete, but usually whenever your computer is just booting up, it'll say at the bottom something like press F2 to enter the BIOS settings or something like that. And whenever that little message pops up, just hit that key really quick. You might have to restart your computer a couple times just to catch it in time, depending on how fast it boots up. But once you do that, you'll get into the BIOS settings. There will be some sort of setting somewhere in that BIOS menu that says something about virtualization, and it's just like a checkbox that you have to turn on. And one other setting that you might run into issues with, the Windows Hyper-V setting. If you go to your Windows control panel and you go to Programs, and then under Programs and Features, turn Windows features on or off. Scroll down until you see Windows Hypervisor Platform. Hopefully, neither of those things will be an issue and it's already done by default. But if you do run into any errors during this setup process, those are two things to check. You're enabling the virtualization in your BIOS and disabling the Windows hypervisor. So back to installing VirtualBox. Once we get that, run it, and it's going to open the setup wizard. Hit next, hit next. During this process, you will probably lose internet connection for like a few seconds or so. That's just something that you have to do to set up the network interfaces correctly. It'll take a few minutes to run this little install process, and then after it's finished, hit finish and it will start VirtualBox. So now that we have our VirtualBox manager set up, which you can see right here on my screen, we need to build our actual virtual machine. Now, as you can see, I already have this Parrot security VM that's listed in my VirtualBox manager, and that is the VM that I've actually been using in most of my videos. If you want to use Parrot, they have whole sections for installing Parrot on VirtualBox as well as installing Parrot on VMware. So if you want to walk through all those steps, is there in the documentation for that. I'll put the link down at the bottom of the video. But for this video, I'm actually going to walk through setting up Kali Linux. Similar to Parrot, it's just a Debian Linux distribution that comes prepackaged with a lot of hacking tools. The reason I'm going to go through the Kali install for this video is because for beginners who just want to get up and running and have a Linux environment that they can play with, Kali offers something really cool where they actually have some pre-built VMware and VirtualBox images that you can install without having to go through all of the steps of building a virtual machine from scratch. So I'm going to go with VirtualBox and I'm going to download, and you can't see it because my camera is in the way, but this is downloading a .ova file, which is going to be something that we can open in VirtualBox without having to go through all those steps that are in the documentation I showed you from Parrot. So after that download has finished, now we have that OVA file in our downloads folder. And now we want to open our VirtualBox manager. We're going to go to File, Import Appliance. And now we're going to go to our local file system, hit the little folder right here, go to our downloads folder, and now we have this Kali Linux OVA file. We're going to select that, hit Open, hit Next, Import, I agree. And now it's going to take a few minutes to import that. So go get a snack, take a nap, drink a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do for a few minutes. And we'll come back when it's finished.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so that took a few minutes, but now we should have that Kali Linux virtual machine listed right here in our VirtualBox manager. So I'm just going to double click it. It's booting. So now we are at the login page of our virtual machine, and you can see right here in this window that I still have up in the background that for these virtual images, the default credentials is username Kali, password Kali. Log in, Kali, and I'm going to maximize my window, and you can actually go up to the view menu and you can make it full screen if you would like to. And now you're up and running. You can use Kali. You can open a terminal. You can run terminal commands. But there are also tons of tools already installed by default on Kali. For example, Burp Suite. I've done a video about using Burp Suite with Android. Burp Suite's a great tool for application security testing. There are tools for like Wi-Fi hacking, all kinds of things. And if you break anything, who cares? You can just delete it and build another one following those steps we just did. It's very easy, very convenient, and it's a great tool, especially if you are a beginner trying to learn about a lot of this stuff. The only other thing that I will mention, like I said a minute ago, the default credentials are the username Kali and the password is Kali. I actually went to DEF CON a few years ago, which is a massive hacking convention in Vegas. It's pretty great. Anyone who's interested in hacking and security should definitely try to go at least once. And while I was there, I talked to one guy. He actually had Kali installed on his laptop, and he didn't change the default credentials. So Kali was his username and Kali was his password. People just very easily were able to compromise that laptop and get access to his machine because he didn't change the password. For that reason, I would highly recommend to at least change your password, if not change your username too. You can just run PASSWD. So right now, my current password is Kali, and my new password something super secure, and now my password has been changed. And now you can run all those Linux commands and run all those Linux tools that you might have seen in different tutorials, but you didn't know how to use because all you had was a Windows computer.